So BMW, Mercedes, Audi, who makes the best vehicle? I myself, not to date myself, but I've been in the auto industry coming up on 30 years now. So I'm going to be speaking to you from the perspective of a auto repair shop owner. I currently own 2 independent shops here in Utah that both specialize in European vehicles. Been doing this a while. So from my perspective, I'm seeing all these makes come through my shops at a pretty good rate every week. So I'm going to speak mostly from perspective of auto repair shop owner, but I've also owned several European vehicles as well. So when it comes down to it, picking from the 3, my number 1 pick is BMW. I like the way they drive, I like their reliability, and then from a shop owner's perspective, I've got good access to diagnosis and repair data, and I've got really good access to parts. My number 2 pick would actually be Audi. As far as drivability goes, I really like the Audis. The difference being in kind of the more entry-level models. So the A3s and the A4s, comparing them to maybe like a BMW 3 Series. Obviously BMW, I'd much rather be driving a 3 Series than the entry-level Audis for noise concerns and just the general feel. As far as repairing them goes, Audis do have a little bit higher rate of failure, a lot of hose issues and stuff that I've seen. But as far as repair data to have them diagnosed and repaired, pretty good access to them. And then parts availability is actually a little bit better than BMW. Actually, Audi does a pretty good job of making parts available to me. We've got quite a few Audi dealers here around me. My 3rd pick is Mercedes. Honestly, I feel like Mercedes is probably ranked 2nd in my book as far as reliability goes. But the reason why I put it at the bottom of the list, they're not as popular around here. There's only one Mercedes dealer close to me, so parts can be an issue. But the biggest reason why I made them 3rd is diag and repair data. Mercedes is very stingy with what they make available to independent shops like ours. They obviously want their vehicles coming back to the dealer, and they're the one that does the best job of making it more difficult for shops like ours to diagnose and repair them. So there's quite a few programming issues we have where we got to jump through quite a few hoops to have access to actually be able to access a lot of their security modules. I didn't necessarily rank Mercedes at the bottom of my list because they're a bad car. They're a great car. Just as far as repairing them goes, they're definitely my 3rd favorite, just because they're a little stingy on data. They'll share with us what they'll let us access, and then parts availability is a little bit more rough. Due to them not being as popular in my area, the aftermarket community doesn't do that good of a job of stocking up on the parts we need. So generally speaking, the Mercedes are a little bit more difficult for us to repair. Take us just a little bit longer, but that being said, still a good car.
Hello, I'm Tony Richards. I'm the shop foreman for AB Hadley. Preference on vehicles between those three automakers would be BMW. If I'm going to buy a new car or if I'm going to buy a used vehicle, I'm probably going to tend to lean more towards BMW. I'd stay away from this 3 Series, especially the older ones. The reason being is because they've usually been messed with. They're the bottom of the totem pole. For BMW, if you are looking for a decent BMW, go to like a 5 Series, 7 Series. It's going to be a little bit more money, but when you buy them, they're a lot more money, so those are high-end customers. They're going to take care of their vehicle. They're going to know a lot more about what's going on with their vehicle. They tend to know what they have, what engine they have. They're always looking up stuff on them. I'd have to flip-flop with my boss and say that I like the Mercedes better to work on and to drive. There's a lot more comfort in a Mercedes than an Audi. Audi is if you want really some speed, a little bit more speed, and the higher end ones. The 4 Series, the 3 Series, they're pretty good in the Audis, but it's the same platform as a VW. So it's usually all sort of the same thing. When you work on VW, you're working on an Audi. Mercedes, they are very, very well maintained vehicles. They're a higher end vehicle, have a better resale value, things like that. That's sort of the things we look for. when we're trying to buy a vehicle, because you want to be able to resell it, because you're not going to own it forever. I mean, I love working on BMWs. I have the ISTA, which is the factory level tool. I can diagnose, I can be in contact with Germany. I can find out every little thing on a BMW. Audi, with the ELSA tools and the things that they have, they're a little bit more out of it. And then with Mercedes, we have the Star Scan. The Star Scan and the Star Finder is a factory level tool also. Very, very well to diagnose. So, but I love working on the BMWs. They're meant to be taken apart. The engines are meant to be taken apart, repaired, and put back together, rather than just swap an engine or swap this or swap that. It's more made for the old school mechanics. Whereas Audi, we would just usually have to replace a whole head, replace the short block, replace major components, recode them to the car. Mercedes, sort of the same way. They're sort of more in the middle. They're meant to really be taken apart and fixed and repaired, rather than just throw a whole new thing in, component into it.
When it comes down to it, honestly, we've had enough experience with the big three, BMW, Mercedes, Audi. They're all very comparable, in my opinion, as far as reliability goes. So it really comes down to buying what you like. There's not going to be a huge swing one way or the other on three. One thing to consider, though, is based off where you live, what area you're in, you really got to figure out who you're going to have service and repair it. There's not a lot of shops out there like ours that actually will work on European vehicles. Here in my area, my number one referral source is actually shops in the area, because most mechanics don't enjoy working on these the European vehicles. So consider that. Like in our area, take BMW for instance. We're here in Ogden, Utah, kind of the northern tip of Utah. The closest BMW dealer to us is just a little bit south of Salt Lake. So it's about a 40-mile commute, I think, to get down to the BMW dealer. Not only is it 40 miles to get down there, but them being the only ones, there's one Salt Lake or Murray, actually technically, and Pleasant Grove, I think, is the two dealers. Not only are they quite a ways away from us, but them being the only two guys in town, customer service, I've heard, kind of suffers. You know, when there's not a lot of competition, I feel like you don't have to go above and beyond to kind of keep clients. I think they have more clients, honestly, than they can handle. Take that into consideration if you live in an area that doesn't have a mechanic that likes to work on your car, and if they don't have access to the parts you need, just that's going to be a factor, right, on just the convenience of owning that vehicle. Other than that, buy what you like, take care of it, and all three of them will be a good vehicle for you moving forward. One thing that would help us, if you would subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up. We monitor the comments quite often, so if you liked anything, or if I left anything out, you got any questions for me, hit me up in the comments. I'll do my best. I usually monitor those every few days. We'll get back to you. And if there's something common that we're seeing in the comments, we'll do a follow-up video. But thanks for watching.